All right. Welcome to your practice for Bhuvaneshwari. Bhuvaneshwari, the infinite one. The energy of Bhuvaneshwari is a very motherly energy. It's a very expansive, infinite, spacious energy that's inside everything and that energy from which everything else comes. So this practice is really perfect for if you're experiencing anxiety or fear to tune into the archetypal energy of Bhuvaneshwari. It can be very, very comforting. I know a lot of us in this time have um, anxiety and fear coming up. And also, I think it's just a really great practice to help settle the mind and bring us deep into a meditative state. So for the practice today, we are doing yin yoga. And for yin yoga, it's really lovely to have props. You don't have to have props, but I highly recommend it to support the body and make it very comfortable. So through this practice, I ask that you just listen to yourself and use the props as needed. You want to make sure that when you're in the pose that you can actually breathe. If your breathing is too tight, then this pose is too intense and you'll need to adjust or shift. Also, in the yin practice, once we get settled into a pose, we like to stay there and be as still as we can, if possible, and really let our body melt into the position and let the connective tissue soften. We'll be holding poses for lengthy period of time, maybe 3 minutes or so each one. So once you get yourself just perfect, and see if you can just release into the practice, into the pose. All right, so you will need some blocks, and they look like this. I would like for you to have two if you need them. If you don't have blocks, you can use toilet paper rolls or some like firmer pillows. But if you have a block, it'd be really great to use some blocks. Also would like for you to have a bolster or some pillows. This is what a bolster looks like. If you do not have a bolster, you can take a really nice blanket. So also nice for you to have a blanket or a really big towel, fold it into a square and then roll it lengthwise so that it's like this. For our first practice, we're going to need something that runs the length of the spine, and that's where the bolster fits in. But if not, you can have a towel. So the Bhuvaneshwari energy is that connected to the sun and therefore to the heart center. So this practice will be centered around spaciousness and the heart, the sun center. We will start in Supta Baddha Konasana or bound angle pose, reclined. We also call this reclined butterfly. So you will take your bolster and line the short end of it up with the base of your spine. And then you will lay your body back over it. If you don't have the bolster, you can do it flat on the floor. I think it's much nicer with something for the heart opening experience. And then if you don't have the bolster, you can also use that long roll of blanket or towel that I showed you, and this will run up and down along the length of your spine. Once you lay your body back over, you can have your arms open with the palms to the sky, really opening in the heart. That feels like a little too much. You can just place the hands on the chest or on the belly. And the next step is bringing the knees bent, soles of the feet on the earth, and the feet come together and then just the knees gently fold open. If this is taxing on the hip, you're going to lay here for about 3 minutes. And if this is taxing on the hip, you would like to have a block to put underneath each knee to support them so that they come up. If not, you can wedge some pillows in under the thighs or some blankets, anything to support the hips so you can really soften and breathe. If you would like, you can cover your body up, you can cover your lap up. It helps for extra grounding and just a little bit more of a feeling of safety. So we will just begin by getting your body in this position, getting yourself perfectly comfortable. Settling down in. It feels okay just closing the eyes. And I'll be reading you some things throughout the practice to connect you to the energy. You can listen or you can just let the words wash through you. You're not going to be missing anything. This is your practice. And this excerpt comes from Awakening Shakti by Sally Kempton. Love this book. Imagine the biggest space you can, space pulsing with creative fullness and possibility. Try to feel and sense your way into its clarity, its luminosity. Use all your senses: sight, hearing, but especially your inner sense of touch. Notice that it pulses subtly. Notice that within it, little squiblets of thought or ripples of images arise. As you feel your way into this space, recognize that it is hyperconscious. It is aware. It is knowing. Now see if you can imagine this space as an infinite sky, stretching out forever, borderless and without boundaries. Imagine that everything that could be conceived, as well as the unimaginable, every planet, star, black hole, ocean, planet form, creature, idea, and space-time itself are contained in this infinite spaciousness. Imagine its sheer freedom. It can become anything. It can dissolve anything into itself. It is filled with possibility, with wisdom, within it, with infinite love. It creates within itself a body, and that body is the cosmos. This is the felt sense of Bhuvaneshwari, whose body is the space of infinite possibility. The matrix, the eternal mother energy who spins the universe out of her own body, the way a spider spins a web and then lives in it. Taking a couple more moments to breathe into this felt sense of Bhuvaneshwari, infinite spaciousness, aliveness in every molecule of everything in the universe. And so in yin yoga, it's very important to ease in and then to ease out. Coming out is almost more important than coming in. So if your knees were spread open, take your hands, bring them to the outside of the knees, and then help your knees come together. Beautiful. Nice and easy, nice and gently. And then roll off to one side of your bolster. Move the bolster or blanket out from behind you. And then come to lie on your back again with the soles of your feet on the earth, knees bent. And then we'll just windshield wipe our knees from side to side. So they come together right, and then they come together to the left. Just bringing some movement into that tissue that we just put a lot of taxation on. And then when you're ready, just rolling to one of your sides, pausing for 2 nice breaths here. And then very slowly and gently pushing yourself up to a seated position. So the next pose is called side heart. I sort of made it up. And I love this pose. And this today, because Bhuvaneshwari is connected to the heart, we're going to open all sides of the heart. So this is for the side of the heart. That's why it's called side heart. So you'll take your block. You'll come to a seated position and bring your feet, if you can, to the same side. I call it cheerleader pose. So when you were in Sukhasana or ease pose, you can just bend the knee so the feet are on the same side. You set the block up on what is, we'll say, level 2. So the flattest level is 1. The second level is level 2. The awesome teacher Aaron Fleming calls it Mama Bear, which I love. You'll set that down, and then you'll lay your body over it. So you want to get that block just under your rib cage. And once you do, you can bend your bottom elbow so that your head is resting on your hands. Doesn't matter which side you start on. We'll just do a little bit on each side. And so it's kind of resting in this bodhisattva position. And really want to get that block working in the rib cage, working under the armpit in the same way that, in the way that you can let your body melt over it, can let the tissue soften. If you want to let your head go, if that feels okay on your neck, you can go ahead and do that. If you'd like your top arm to reach up long, that's going to increase the intensity, increase the pressure. And just sending your breath into the side of your heart. Sending your breath into the side of your heart. So the sound for this spaciousness is H-R-I-M, pronounced Hrim, 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 Hrim. And inhale and exhale this sound, if you'd like, through your body. Hrim. Just imagine it. Clearing, releasing. If thoughts bubble up in your mind, drop them down into the heart space and send this sound through your heart center. And gently close your eyes and just soften into the spaciousness. Soften into the expanse. And when your mind becomes distracted, back to the breath and back to Harim, Harim. You might find that after you've been in a position for a while, your tissue starts to melt. You might be able to drop in a little deeper. Harim, Harim. And reminding you once again that coming out of a pose is equally as important. So we will begin to slowly and carefully start to come out of this pose. If the arm was overhead, you'll release that arm in front of you, placing the top arm firmly, the hand pressing on the floor, and use that arm to push you up gently to a seated position. Very slowly and gently. Beautiful, beautiful. And come to a comfortable seated position for a moment. So your top arm, you're going to place that hand on the floor beside you. And then just reach the bottom arm overhead. Stretch, in the breath underneath there for just a minute. Feel the effects. Breathing deep up under the armpit. And then slowly inhale yourself up to a seated position. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And then we'll prepare for the other side. So coming into cheerleader pose, so both your feet are turned outward to the same side. Find your block and then go ahead and lay your rib cage over your block. So again, really wiggling that block so that it's hitting a certain sweet spot under the armpit up against the rib cage where you feel like it's sort of massaging. The knees are stacked as comfortably. This is a little bit of a twist here. I don't know if we would really want so much of a twist. Want the hips stacked nice. And then if you had your arm above your head on the other side and it's available on this side, I recommend that you do the same thing on both sides. If sometimes for whatever reason the shoulder is not available for that, so you can just keep the arm down next to your side or place that hand on the floor. And again, just dropping inside, dropping deep inside. If any thoughts bubble up into the forehead, allowing them to sink down into the heart. Harim. Imagining a glowing light in your heart space. And really allowing that glowing light to permeate 3D, permeate up under the armpit, into the side ribs, into the lungs. And coming back to Harim, Harim, Harim. Inhaling and exhaling. Dropping down in. And if the mind starts to wander, just gently coaxing it back to the breath, back to the sound, back to the light in the heart's center. Taking 2 more beautiful, full, deep, expansive breaths. Preparing to transition out again very slowly. If the top arm was raised over the head, releasing it to the front of the body, placing that palm firmly on the earth, and then pressing in to the palm to help come to a seated position. Beautiful. Coming back to ease pose or crisscross applesauce. And once again, the arm that was overhead, placing that firmly on the ground. And then the arm that was underneath reaches up long, stretching in that side body where we were just compressing, sending the breath into that space. Maybe softening the neck a little, maybe look down at the ground and then up to the sky. Just some softness in the neck. Eye and jaw is soft. Beautiful. And then inhaling yourself back to center. Ooh, and maybe a nice little double stretch of the hands overhead. Gorgeous. All right. And now for your final pose before Shavasana, we will do child's pose. So we did a back bend to open the heart in the beginning. We open the side. Now we will open the back. So for child's pose, I recommend getting a bolster or one of those long blankets like this underneath your torso. So this will go on your front body long. So coming onto your knees, I really like to have the toes together and then the knees wide, and then pull the bolster up under the belly and then fold. You can bring your sits bones back towards your heels and then let the body fold over and get the bolster in enough space where your forehead can rest on the ground or the mat comfortably. You have the option of bringing the arms long above the head or tucking the arms around to the side, whatever feels more comfortable on your neck. But really softening the forehead if you can into the earth. Feeling a stretch on the back body. And really focusing this round on softening the back of the heart. Seeing that light, that sun inside the heart space, imagining a glowing sun. And then allowing it to soften, to melt, and open the back of the heart. Allowing your attention to float through the back between the shoulder blades, sensing that behind you is the great golden blissful spaciousness that is Bhuvaneshwari, the source of the cosmos. The breath flows into this spaciousness at your back. Once again with the sound Harim, Harim. It infuses your body with spacious, life pulsing energy of awareness, freedom, and love. Breathing your own thoughts, breathing them into your heart, and then through the back of your heart into the spaciousness at your back. Feel the blessing energy of the cosmos flowing into your thoughts, creating auspiciousness in the space in your mind. You can use this practice with anxious thoughts or fearful thoughts or painful thoughts to inhale them into the heart and exhale them with a hrim, offering them to the universe, to the cosmos, emptying, being held in this spaciousness, being cradled as these thoughts dissolve through the body, through the mind, dissolving into the energy at your back. Taking just a breath or two more here. When we're ready to come out, placing the hands underneath the shoulders ever so gently and pressing up into tabletop. So we're on our hands and knees, wrists under elbows, under shoulders. Bring the knees together. If the bolster's in the way, you'll have to move it out, the blanket, and just give yourself a few cat-cows. So rounding, tucking on the exhale. Inhale as the belly draws to the earth, open the heart. And 2 rounds of this. 2 more rounds, I should say. Very nice. And then just moving in any way that you need to prepare your body for final relaxation or shavasana. Might need to extend one leg at a time behind you to stretch, get some blood flow behind the knees and in the ankles and hips. And when you're ready, finding your way onto your back for final relaxation. If you want, you can place a bolster under your knees, can cover with a blanket, whatever feels really good. You can place a blanket underneath your head. Whatever you need to be really, really comfortable. In light of this sort of spaciousness, but also contained motherly energy, it can feel really good to cover with a blanket. If it's feeling all right, maybe even putting a little something over the eyes, just to invite some of the dark blackness, the spaciousness, and allowing the body to just soften into stillness, to reap the benefits of the practice, and to rest. If you find that your mind is distracted or floating off in a bunch of directions, coming back to the heart, sending the thoughts into the vast expanse behind you with the sound Hrim. If you would like to stay here a little longer, just feel free to rest in this meditative space. If not, begin to bring your awareness into your body, feeling the air on your skin, noticing the temperature of your inhale and exhale, the coolness as you inhale, the heat, the warmth of your exhale. And then invite your body into a little organic movement, beginning to wake up, transitioning from a deeply internal space to a little bit more of orientation to the environment. Maybe have a nice long stretch above the head. If you have a bolster, you can bend your knees and get your bolster out of your way. And before you come to seated, just select a side to roll to and rest on your side for 2 nice full breaths before you come to a seated position. It's very important to transition nice and slowly in a yin practice. And then join me and Christian in a comfortable seated position. Just to close out very briefly, hands together in prana mudra, palms and fingers all touching one another, thumb firmly pressed into the breastbone. One nice deep breath and exhale. Offering a moment of gratitude for the ability and time to engage in this practice. And I hope this feeling lasts with you throughout the day and that you can lean into your Hrim and into Bhuvaneshwari for support at any given time. Thank you so much for this practice. I bow to you.